Australia. A land of extremes. And the stories of those who discovered the secrets of the Australian continent and made this land great are worth telling. So join me as I recount and retrace the footsteps of Australia's greatest stories. On Australia Rediscovered with Ricko. In this episode of Australia Rediscovered with Ricko, we're going to be checking out some of my favourite huts from Victoria's high country and checking out the stories behind a few of them along the way. The spectacular and rugged mountain ranges of the Victorian high country have captivated and fascinated people for more than 150 years. Explorers, prospectors, cattlemen and now four-wheel drivers have all been awed by the beauty, wonder and dangers of the mountains and plains of the region. And the tales that these mountains tell are the stuff of legend. Stories of heroes, villains, mateship and courage, as well as violence and murder, echo in these peaks. In this episode, we'll be travelling the length and breadth of the Victorian high country. We're starting our journey in Mansfield, a small town in the foothills of the Victorian Alps, and making our way through the steep and pretty tracks of Mount Stirling. This is where it all starts, the most famous of them all, Craig's Hut.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree.
Whenever I speak to someone about the huts of the Victorian high country, the first one they always mention is Craig's Hut. Certainly one of the most photographed alpine huts, Craig's Hut is also one of the most recognisable. Perched on a plateau not far from the peak of Mount Stirling, the hut has stunning views of the ranges and gives visitors a glimpse into our nation's past. In fact, Craig's Hut has become an iconic symbol of Australia's settler history.
Well, if you wanna get to heaven, you gotta raise a little hell, and I've been running on the lawn.
Like a lot of the huts in the high country, the one we're standing in right now is not the original. In fact, this is the fourth incarnation of Craig's Hut. Bushfire has ravaged this place. But there's something special about Craig's Hut. You'll find huts built by miners, loggers, drovers, but this one is unique. It originally started life as a film set. Life in Australia in the last decade of the 19th century was very much centred around the cities. The populations of Sydney and Melbourne were growing fast, and the borders of these cities were ever expanding, swallowing up vast areas of bush. As the continent became more urbanised, the bush and its characters were often romanticised and mythologised by journalists and poets alike. Names such as Henry Lawson, Adam Lindsay Gordon and Henry Kendall became household names, but it was Andrew Barton Paterson who became synonymous with the Aussie bush character. Banjo Paterson, as he became known, was already a successful journalist and poet when he published his most famous work, The Man from Snowy River, and other verses in 1890. Ballads such as Clancy of the Overflow, the Geebung Polo Club, and The Man from Ironbark were already popular with readers, but it was the title poem, The Man from Snowy River, that established Paterson as a celebrity overnight. The poem about an expensive racehorse escaping from its enclosure on a Snowy Mountains cattle station and the subsequent call for the mountain bushmen to come and help find it cemented Banjo Paterson as the colony's eminent storyteller. And the fact that many can still to this day recite the first stanza is testament to Banjo's ability to capture the romance of the bush.
There was movement at the station, for the word had passed around that the colt from Old Regret had got away. He'd joined the wild bush horses and was worth £1,000, so all the cracks had gathered for the fray. All the tried and noted riders from the stations near and far had gathered at the homestead overnight, for the bushmen love hard riding, where the wild bush horses are, and the stock horse snuffs the battle with delight.
Banjo Paterson's Man from Snowy River was immortalised on film by George Miller in 1982, shooting on location in and around the Victorian High Country. Starring Tom Burlinson, Sigrid Thornton and Kirk Douglas, the movie celebrated Paterson's high country heroes. And in a nod to the author of the story, Banjo himself is a character in the movie, as is Clancy from Paterson's poem Clancy of the Overflow. Craig's hut, named after the main character Jim Craig, played by Burlinson, was built specifically for the film, and thankfully the hut still stands today as both a testament to the popularity of the film, but also as a reminder of the Vic High Country as it used to be.